Alright, today guys, I'm going to be making my full card predictions of UFC 330 Makhachev versus Ian McGarry. Starting off the preliminary card, we got Jeremiah Wells versus Mike Tebek Orolbai. Orolbai's only recent loss has been against Rebecki, you know. Wells, on the other hand, he lost to some scrubs. He beat Themba Garimbo. That's his last win. Garimbo. That should pretty much say all you need to know about this guy. He beat Court McGee, who's also one of those grapplers, but none of those guys are Orolbai, my bad. None of those guys are Orolbai, you know. Who needs those guys when you have this caveman, you know what I mean? Who cares about this guy? Who are those guys? Ultimate Fighter? Who? Yeah, I'd say Orolbai probably gets it done via decision. I think he's levels above Garimbo in grappling and everything. Probably not, like, you know, Jeremiah Wells, you know, he took Garimbo to a decision, but Mikhailov also took Garimbo to a you know what I mean? Like, you know, Jeremiah Wells is 40, and Orolbai is a young caveman, so I'm going to go with Orolbai. I think he's just stylistically a way harder fight. I wouldn't be shocked if this fight's more competitive than people imagine. Wells does have that kind of anti-grappling kind of style, you know what I mean? That's what his style reminds me of. But he's 40. Orolbai's on the up and coming. He has wins over Masayev, Hermanson, Chris Kurz. Like, all those guys were ranked. My bad. Like, Masayev was the rising champ, and Hermanson beat Curtis, and Orolbai beat Curtis again. Yeah, like, those two guys were top 10 at one point. I'm positive they were. So, Orolbai, man, I think he gets this one done pretty easily. Mismatch. Definitely a mismatch. Moving on. Neil Magny versus Ramiz Brahimaj. Speaking of Garimbo, we have a Garimbo victim. Brahimaj is 2-1 in his last three. He beat he beat Austin Vanderford and Billy Ray Goff. Those are his last two wins. And then he lost to Punahele Soriano. Neil Magny has only really lost to people who are like champion material. His last one is Alessio Dos Santos. I think maybe I'm forgetting a letter in that guy's name, but that's his last win. He did it impressively. He's only really lost in recent history to Michael Morales, Carlos Prates, and Yaroslav Amosov. And if you tell me those guys are the same level as Ramiz Brahimaj, I would call you crazy. Magny's only lost to friggin' title challengers and some, you know, questionable up-and-coming wins, but like in recent history, he lost to Gilbert Burns, who challenged for the belt. He wasn't washed, you know, he wasn't completely washed yet. Then he lost to Morales, Prates. He did get colded by Prates, you know, so I don't know how much that's going to mean here, but I got Magny, third round decision. I can see Brahimaj just doing decent in the first and then just falling over and quitting. I can kind of see that. He gets Garimbo'd. Rafael Tobias versus Lucas Fernando. Lucas here, he lost to Cesar Almeida and Azamat Bikoev. Tobias here, he lost to Diar Nurgajai and some other scrub in Brazil. Tobias isn't the biggest light heavyweight. Fernando will definitely not be the biggest light heavyweight either. I think his reach will play 100% a big part in this fight. And I think lighter man skill will pull him together here. I can see him getting chinned just because of Brazilians. Pretty clear cut. You know, I don't really... Tobias has that, you know, that powerhouse kind of style where he's just going to show you something with his hands. Fernando, interesting fighter. I don't know too much about him. We'll see tomorrow. Interesting fight. Of course, they sign a random guy that you never hear of, but... Vicente Luque versus Tresean Gore. Vicente Luque Darce choke round 1. That's what I'm going with. Now I'm playing. 3rd-round decision could be possible. I think Luque will sting Tresean Gore because Tresean Gore is the same guy that took Rodolfo Vieira to a 3rd-round decision and lost. This is the same guy, so don't be shocked if you pick him to win and he absolutely gets starched. Lighter man skill, I got Luque, also billion-dollar company. Vicente Luque, 3rd-round sub. Maybe a 2nd-round KO. I see a finish. Luque by finish. Either KO or knockout. I can see it. He has hands, bro. Dante Johnson versus Eric McConaughey. I got Eric McConaughey. You may be wondering, like, why are you picking him? McConaughey shows more promise than anyone Johnson has fought. Cody Brundage. He has way more promise than Brundage. They both had close fights against Brundage because, if we're being honest, Brundage is just a crafty vet. He's just a random fucker, if we're being 100. So, I think Johnson's power is a little it's good power, but I don't think it's as good as they say it is. Or that it claims to be, but I could be wrong in this fight. 100% I could be wrong, but I think he's an underdog too. McConaughey hasn't let me down anytime soon. I picked him against friggin' Vieira. I'm pretty sure a lot of people had Vieira in that. I can see Johnson just nuking him after losing a round or two. That's the kind of fight I see, where he's losing and he just wins via power. That's kind of how McConaughey loses anyway. Like, the Suzukaya fight, he's doing decent and he just gets chinned. Slippery slides on the floor and just falls on his head. Yeah, I got Eric McConaughey. Ooh, this is a good one. Charles Johnson versus Eduardo Chapolin. Or Eduardo Enrique. Chapolin is his nickname. I got Eduardo here. Charles Johnson, he's coming off of a loss to Asu Almabayev, but Almabayev is good. We don't give Almabayev the credit, but he is good. He had a win over Bruno Silva in a very close fight, which a lot of people thought he lost, arguably. I have Eduardo here. I think Chapolin here, I think he just has the better skill set than Johnson, in my opinion. I think that's just what it is. I can see a finish maybe, but Chapolin really isn't a prospect like that. He's seasoned. He lost to Joseph Morales on the Ultimate Fighter. And Joseph Morales is about to fight Brandon Moreno, so what can you really say? He got top 15 by beating Matt Schnell. Crazy, right, guys? Yeah, I got Chapolin here. Not too much. I think the grappling of Chapolin will take over in this fight. I could be wrong. I think just off of everything, like 5 takedown average, he's definitely going to be an issue for Johnson, but you never know. And especially at catchweight. Chidi Njokuani versus Joel Alvarez. I got Joel Alvarez. Njokuani lost to Jake Matthews, Carlos Leal, and Gregor. He also lost to Mikhail Olasheshik. Like, he's lost to some guys who are not that good, Alvarez, on the other hand, he beat Elvis Brenner, brutalized your car clothes. Like, lighter man skill. I had him beating Amosov. Okay, let's not talk about that. I think just looking at resume-wise, Njokuani had a close fight with Reese McKee. In the era of Reese McKee not being the greatest, sent back to Cage Warriors, Reese McKee. Not calling him bad, but, it's Reese McKee. You really should not be having close fights with him. And if that doesn't tell you all you need to know, Alvarez is also, he's still that guy. In my heart. In my head, he's still that guy. You know what I mean? I think just in general, like, he has good subs, too. Like, he can submit people. I say Joe Alvarez submission. Could be a little difficult, but I could see him hurting Njokuani. Just catching him with a submission. Darce choke, maybe. Could pull out of nowhere. You never know. But I have Yoel Alvarez. Either a decision or sub. Ugh, my bad. Edson Barboza versus Esteban Ribovic. Oh, we have Grandpa with his, what? It says 48th fight? 38th fight, I think? Yeah, 38th fight. Grandpa, let's put down the gloves. You should not be fighting anymore. We'll never forget you calling Billy Q. You know, we'll never forget it. Or the Shane Burgos fight. You know, we ain't gonna forget you, Unc. But it's time to put the gloves down. Let's hang him up. Esteban, decision or KO. Pretty easy one to predict. I don't think Edson has the durability or the cardio to keep up with Esteban. Esteban has that cardio that is just crazy. You know, he has good pacing. Especially in the Nasrat hack press fight, he showed it. Edson, however, he's old. He's 40. Age is going to catch up with him. I think he'll lose here just because of Esteban's, you know, his pacing. He sets a great pace for himself. And I don't think Edson's going to be able to keep up with it just because of his age, you know? Yeah, see that? That's crazy output. I got Esteban decision or third round KO. Mansour Abdul Malik versus Dustin Stoltzfus. I'll go Malik here. I want to go Stoltzfus. If people forget, man, Stoltzfus gave Ruzaboyev some trouble. You know, he finished Marc Andre. You know, people forget it. You know, he gave Gastelum a tougher fight, but got dropped. But Gastelum was overweight for that fight because he always is. Yeah, I got Malik. Malik's an underachiever in my opinion. Like, he underperforms so much. Like, you want him to just steamroll fucking Cody Brundage. Nope. Gets a foul knockout. Like, he underperforms so much that I can see him losing this to Dustin. Like, I can see Stoltzfus just getting that lucky one-shot KO type shit. You know what I mean? Like, especially after the way Malik lost, it really does change your perspective on fighting after something like that. Where you get your ass absolutely handed to you as well. After every single gifted matchup, like fucking just Antonio Ciccoli. You know, where's Dustin's Antonio Ciccoli matchup? I'll go Malik, decision. I don't see him finishing Stoltzfus. Malik is just an underachiever. You know, by the way, main card opener. Forgot to mention, guys. Sorry. Jalen Turner versus Cowboy Fernandez. Fernandez is deadly on those low kicks. Keeps his hands down when he throws them. You know, he aura farms a little. I mean, who doesn't? Jalen Turner, the ultimate aura farmer fumbler. We ain't forgetting the Moicano fight, bro. We're not forgetting it. You fumbled. But I don't think Fernandez has that. I think Jalen really does struggle with really good grapplers. Or people who can grapple decently enough. And I don't really see that from Fernandez unless he has some kind of bag of tricks we ain't seen. I think Turner's a safe pick for this one. Turner did get starched by Vicente Luque, but that's Vicente Luque. Okay. But, you know, that was early on in his career, so give me Jalen Turner. He's almost about to hit that Brazilian 10 if y'all see that. 9. Who knows? Hey, moving on. I say Jalen Turner decision. Or when Fernandez throws that low kick with his hands down trying to aura farm, he gets caught with a straight down the pipe, puts him out. I can see one of those two happening. For sure I can. Malik decision. I don't see a finish. Esteban KO round 2 or 3. Or round 1 just puts that pace on Unk. Moving on. Mackenzie Dern. Jillian Robertson, the co-main event. Boy, we're in for a real good piss break. No, I'm playing. I got Mackenzie Dern. Just looking at Robertson's striking is all you need to know. Plus, Dern has good defensive grappling, like off her back. Like I saw a statistic that Jillian Robertson's opponents' records before fighting her or after fighting her were like her last 5 all combined was 0-19. Clap it up. You really got the gifted matchups of the century. What a gifted title shot in hindsight, if we're really thinking about it, but whatever. I ain't the boss of anything. I see a Dern decision. It's WMMA. Jillian Robertson looks like a victim on the feet. If you ever watch her strike, she looks so bad. So bad. Dern is also very hittable, but she's better in the striking. Like, she beat Angela Hill over 5 rounds, guys. Come on. I'm playing. Dern looked better, I would say, especially dealing with someone as, the same similar, smudging kind of style like Robertson and Jandiroba. And she beat Jandiroba twice. You know how impressive that is? Jandiroba twice. Twice. Like, that's crazy work. And I can just see Dern just taking over with striking. It's just Robertson's striking is so bad. I just can't see her outstriking Dern thoroughly. Maybe she throws something to set up a takedown. I just don't see it. I think Dern over 5 will get it done. And Robertson does kind of slow in fights. You'll notice it. She begin. Robertson is, huff and puff a little in that 3rd round. If she's been grappling a bit. But, I got Dern 5-round decision pretty clearly. Probably will come down to the striking, if anything. They're both pretty good on the ground. They're okay on the ground. Dern is okay. Robertson's a bit better on the ground, I would say. Moving on, the main event. The main event, guys. Holy shit. Yeah. Holy shit, we got Islam Makhachev, or Makhachev, or, we'll just call him Islam, versus Ian Machado Gary. I got Islam Makhachev 5-round decision. What I think will happen is when Ian Gary is trying to circle, Islam's going to be catching him with either inside low kicks, or he's going to be catching him with the outside calf. Yeah, he's going to be hammering his legs. Short, just very simple. I can see that, and it will be very important because if he cooks up Machado's legs, or I'll just call him Ian's legs, that lateral movement does go with it. You know what I mean? Like, he won't be as fast, he won't be as springy as he usually will be. He won't. The oblique kicks of Ian Gary will pose a threat to Islam. I just don't see anything that Islam really has to respect from Ian other than the oblique kick. Because if those compromise his knee, it could be GG's, and we could see Ian Gary become champ. Is that the best thing that can happen? Hell no. Nobody wants to see that. But it can happen. And it's a very competitive... On paper, this is a very competitive fight. But to me, it's probably going to be more dominant than it looks on paper. Like, I'm not the only one with that feeling. Like, I feel like Islam Gary should be closer than what the odds suggest. But in reality, I think this will just be a one-sided victory for Islam. For some reason. He could choke like Chimaev and be like, yo, let's strike. Bop, bop, bop. Gets put away again. He does have some defensive holes on the striking, but I personally don't see how Ian can capitalize off of those. So, this is going to be interesting. I will be making a reaction video right after. Like that. You know what I mean? Like, this is going to be a good one. I think Islam has the advantage in the striking a little. Just with the low kicks. Otherwise, Ian Gary does have that, he has some crispy, he has some good blitz combos. Islam is susceptible to those for sure. If we watch the Volkanovski fight, the Moises fight, he doesn't really handle the combos the best. Against a taller guy too. It could be very interesting to see how this plays out for sure. Yeah, I got Islam Makhachev, 5-round decision. I can see a sub after he hammers his legs. You know, it's just gonna be like a fight day thing. You know, I can't wait, guys. This is gonna be a good one. I can sense it through the screen. This fucking asshole, man. Fuck Ian Gary. He's such a bum, bro. He's not a bum. He's just, you're a great fighter. Brother, shut up. You know what I mean? Like, let's not do that, Ian. Let's not be doing that corny shit. Let's keep it professional. Please, bro. Like, don't. He's just so annoying. Women should rule the world. There's, like, I don't want this guy as champ, but if he becomes champ, let's hope he just gets slimed immediately, because we don't need him. You know what I mean? Y'all will be cheering that you love me. No, we won't. Nobody likes you. And if you do, you just like seeing him, you know, his technical game plans. But as a person, nobody likes this guy. His personality is shit. I guess he'll be fun to hate watch, but he won't be a fun person to hear. You know, you'll have to hear him. I'm just rambling about Ian Gary and how he's a you know, boring person. He's not really boring. He's just hateable. Why am I so hateable? Keep it professional. I leaked my own information. I got beat up as a kid. Like, bro, how can you say that and then say keep it professional? Like, this guy's such a pansy, bro. Like, if his life wasn't controlled by his wife, he would probably be a lot different. If he wasn't a soy boy, you know, fucking scumbag, he probably would be a lot more likable. Like, his fighting style is cool. Like, you know, he's technical. It's just how he acts. That's, like, his biggest issue. He needs to shut up. That's what he needs to do. No more podcasts, no more conferences. Shut your mouth, okay? Miss the media days if you have to. Or just tell him media days off. Sorry, guys. You know, something. Please, just stop talking about it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, Mackenzie Dern, Robertson. I don't see that same kind of energy. I think it's a clear Dern win. You know. Reviewing the card. Islam, Dern, Turner, Malik, Esteban, Alvarez, Chapelin, Johnson, Luque, Fernando, Magny, Orlby. Okay. That's who I got. That'll do it for this one. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. Remember, guys, women should rule the world. Just let's hope he doesn't ever touch gold in his life. The only time I think hopefully he'll ever touch gold is when he's, you know, touching Islam's belt after the fight. Hopefully. I don't want to experience him as champion. Just how bad would that be? I can't. I don't want to imagine a world like that. It would just be horrifying. It'd be like when SpongeBob and Patrick open up the zipper. I forgot what it was to the zipper, but just open it up and it's just terror. Fucking open up Davy Jones' locker, you know? You know what I mean? Like, shit like that. Just horrible. Horrible. I can already sense it. It's gonna be horrible if it's not. Alright, I'm gonna go now. Goodbye.